animation, but more specifically, the Breakdown Assistant, one of the new features that came out with Harmony 25. So the Breakdown Assistant is a new feature that came out with Harmony 25, and I'll be honest, as usual, when I was pitched that feature at first by the team, my first reaction was, okay, cool, whatever. I guess this is gonna be helpful for some people, not me. And that's because I've been doing animation for a long while and I have my habits and things work well and all that. So basically, I thought this feature was just a gadget that was not gonna be helpful, but I swear, even if you've been doing cutout for the past 15 years, and you think you're comfortable in your ways and you don't need anything new or any new tools to help you animate, for real, give it a chance. It is freaking really cool, okay? So it would be too long to do this feature in one video, so this is gonna be a two-parters. So in this first part, I'm just gonna teach you about how Cutout Animator usually animates and how it relates to this new tool. And in the next video, I'm gonna give you a breakdown of the Breakdown Assistant in all its glorious features and nook and crannies. Today, I'm gonna show you some cool cutout animation techniques. So if you're a cutout animator, you might wanna wait for next week. Or stay, you might learn something new or make fun of me for not knowing what I'm doing. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm gonna teach you one of the most popular cutout animation technique. It's one I was taught by many different people from many different studios. You know, like techniques will vary a little bit, but this one is like one of the most widespread. So it is a technique where you're gonna have your two key poses that you spend a good amount of time doing. You treat them with love. There's no getting away with it, okay? But then, to find the poses in between, either the in-betweens or the breakdown, you could make an interpolation between your two poses, like this, and then you can kind of pick and choose the poses that you want. So you can like say, okay, I want this pose, and then, you know, give it a keyframe. But it doesn't stop there. So what we would usually do, because if you just have two key poses and you just blindly just every 2 or 3 frames you put a new keyframe, and then you remove your interpolation, yes, you're gonna have an animation that is not too flowy so that it doesn't look too cheap. It looks great because it's snappy. But if you just do that, the timing is really regular and very boring. So typically what we do is we try to do like in hand-drawn animation when we had these timing charts. The timing charts are usually like this, but because of the space in my screen, it's easier to do it horizontally. So usually we would have our poses, and instead of doing everything really linear and in the same tempo, what we would usually do is, instead of putting all the drawings spread like this, what we would usually do is try to have them more like this. And each time you would kind of increment the closeness to this pose. Or you could also do it in the opposite direction and do something more like this. You can also do it from both ways, who knows? So that's how you would create your ease and ease out. So in cutout, you could do that using your timeline and your keyframes. You could get your little interpolation here, and then if I put my keyframe smack into the middle, then it's as if I put my keyframe smack in the middle. It's gonna be very linear and kind of boring. And if I keep doing this by just putting the keyframes, then I'm just always doing it in the middle, kind of boring. So instead, what you can do is I will put a pose that is timing-wise in the center between my two key poses. That's no problem, that's what you need to do. However, instead of just blankly putting my keyframe, I will put a keyframe that's gonna favor either pose A or pose B. In that case, pose A is frame 51 and pose B is frame 63. It is always recommended when you're starting out to keep your key poses on uneven number, just because if you put everything on 2s, then it makes more sense. Of course, when you get more comfortable, not everything is on 2s, there's things that are on 4, 3s, 5s, who knows. But what I was gonna say is that instead of just putting my keyframe blindly like this in the middle, I can then take a pose that is here, so that's gonna favor pose B, and then slide it in the middle. So then timing-wise, my pose is in the middle, but look-wise, it's gonna be closer to B. And this is how you would get your ease and ease outs. So then that would be my center, then I would just keep doing it and just sliding my key. Of course, I'm doing it very fast, and every show has its own recipe, but this is basically how you would get your ease and ease outs to work. And then if I remove my interpolation, you know, you could get like a cool ease and ease out that goes on. And of course, you can even like take your pose that is like here into the middle and then bring it there, and then you keep doing this, and you're gonna get your ease and ease out happening like this. Okay, it's so hard to explain it, so I really hope that it's clear. but once you get used to it and you understand the logic, it really helps your animation, okay? So this is the technique that is used a lot in cutout animation. I did not make this up, it's just the thing. Of course, there's many other techniques to do cutout animation. Some people prefer to use the set ease on multiple parameters, for example, but I wanted to at least show you this like sliding technique here, because this is going to help you understand the breakdown assistant better. Because what the breakdown assistant is going to allow you to do is to leave your needle here, and then by pressing on these numbers, it's going to mimic you sliding your keyframes. If I'm here in the middle and I want to get a pose that is like 50% close to pose B, then I would like click and slide it. But now you can just leave your needle here and you're gonna click on like 50% towards pose B, and it's gonna put the pose here automatically, just like that. And you won't even need to have your interpolation on, it's just gonna do it, and it's wonderful for doing so. Okay, but the breakdown assistant, this is not where it's revolutionary and super fun. We're gonna see into the next video, but the breakdown assistant, what it will allow you to do is not only select the poses that are within A and B, because as you can see here, instead of just doing the 0 and the 100, it's also going to allow you to go beyond, because here I have like minus 125, so this would be able to give you your anticipation. So I'm gonna leave it at that. If you're an experienced cutout animator, you probably know what I mean, and you have enough to take it from there and wait until next week that I'll do the full breakdown. If you have no idea what I just talked about, stay tuned and next week you will know more about it. I'm so sorry, I wish I could do the whole video in one go, but I am only me and I don't have the time to do 20-minute videos every week. So you get this one and next week you're gonna get another one. So I hope that this helped understand a bit of what cutout animators go through when they animate. And next week I'm gonna break down the breakdown assistant with you. Alright, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.